Trump's tariffs are killing the market. Watch the Dow as he announced more tariffs just earlier.
Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start.
But how do these tariff comments affect Bitcoin's price? We're going to go all the way back to Trump's first term because last time it coincided with a year-long bear market. Now, when he first announced tariffs back in 2018, he opposed tariffs on China. Bitcoin would then fall from $13,000 all the way down to $3,000. Now, when we look at the charts, you can see this bear market lasted about 290 days and Bitcoin would fall 70%. And the reason this is so important because as we speak, China is retaliating in real time. They've responded to Trump's tariffs hike with a 15% duty on U.S. imports. This 15% tariff is going to cover wheat, corn, cotton, and chicken, and then they got a 10% tax on a lot of different agricultural items. Now, earlier in the week, he had doubled the tariff imports from China to 20%, and that led to a huge sell-off in stocks and cryptocurrencies. If you're using cold storage, don't use the bootleg products out there. Stick with the best so your portfolio is also going to be the best and the most secure out there. And we're talking about Arculus Cold Storage with their new sleek premium metal cards. They have all different types and styles, embedded, metal veneer, metal hybrid. Imagine the looks around the table when you slam down your 21-gram full metal cold storage card. Everyone's going to be in shock. Everyone's going to be in awe. And it's not just your portfolio bags. It's how you're securing it with the Arculus Cold Storage. Make sure you use code DC20 to save you 20%. Now, in Trump's words, when he did that tariff back in 2018, coinciding with the year-long bear market for Bitcoin, he said trade wars are good and easy to win. So let's see what kind of impact the current trade war is having on Bitcoin's price, because we got a couple dates and we're going to look at the charts here and we're going to put on the 4-hour candles and see what kind of impact Bitcoin had. Now, the first tariff is going to be from the end of January 31st. So let's go back and look at January 31st and the charts. You can see, tariff announced. Everybody started to short the markets, kind of caught some liquidated traders here, as they're over betting on it to go down, got a liquidity grab to the upside, and then Bitcoin ended up taking a huge tumble, fell about almost 15% in 2.5 days. That was when he enacted tariffs against Canada, China, and Mexico. So let's look at the next tariff. So the next tariff came about a week later. This one happened February 7th. Now, it wasn't just crypto that fell during this tariff push. You can see the Dow Jones fell about 400 points. The S&P 500 also fell, and so did the NASDAQ. But let's look at Bitcoin's price. So this is February 7th. So we're going to go back here, and you can see it right here. So this is the second announcement of tariffs. Now, there's one thing I wanted to point out on the 4-hour chart here. When he did the tariffs here, we were in overbought territory. If you're above the 50 line on the relative strength index, you're technically overbought. If you're below 50, you're technically oversold. Some might say it doesn't really start till you're above the dotted lines here and here. But either way, you can see, close enough. Bitcoin flirting with the overbought territory. Now, when we had tariffs here, we were below the 50% line, technically, slightly oversold. Bitcoin had to consolidate until the RSI peaked into positive territory, and then we had another fall. So we fell about 15% during that tariff earlier. And if you look from right here, fell, roughly within that range, fell about 18%. So what is going to be the impact from this trade war? This is the Economic Times. This is today's headline. Bitcoin drops 10%. So we already got a large part of the move to the downside. You can see it started right here. And we're starting to see a little bit of relief bounce on the 4-hour candle. Now, after this tariff, after we got a large 4-hour candle to the upside, we ended up, printing some pretty bullish activity. Rose about 12%. Here you can see, more bullish candles. Bitcoin ended up rising about 22%. And I feel with this recent green candle, now folks, we still got about 35 minutes before this candle closes, and we still want to continue with the green candles, but I feel like the shakeout move to the downside largely priced in a lot of the tariff move. Now, we fell 15% roughly and 18% roughly. This move right here is already 14%, so the move may have played out to the downside. Now, let me give you some upside potential when it comes to Bitcoin. So we're seeing the trade war tariffs escalate. We're seeing a lot of impacts on the markets. Investors are spooked, but this is one thing that's making me very bullish. Michael Saylor, he's the CEO of Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, and his company is the largest public holder of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor has been invited to the Digital Asset Summits at the White House this Friday, so this is only 2 days away. So my thoughts are, if you're going to sell your Bitcoin, you should have done it a few days ago. I feel like the move to the downside has largely played out. We might fall another 1%, maybe even 5%, but I don't think we're going to crash into the 60s anytime soon. And when I look at the chart, you can see the 4-hour made some bullish divergences on the RSI. You can see the relative strength index was moving to the upside, while the price of Bitcoin was moving to the downside, creating a classic bullish divergence that played out. And right now, the RSI is still showing strength, still moving to the upside. And so there's still strength in the Bitcoin markets. The buyers still feel like they're in control right now. And so if you want to wait for Bitcoin to get hyper cheap, I don't know if you're going to get that opportunity. I'm DZ for Discover Crypto. Hopefully this helps separate the news from the noise. And if you like that info we're giving you, smash the like button down below, and I'll see you in your Bitcoin bags at the top.